Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I am here with the lovely Leora Ruzin, the SVP of Wholesale Operations for Equity Prime Mortgage. And today we are speaking about how Leora came into the mortgage industry and why she wanted to be part of the NAMMBA Visionary Ambassador Program. So Leora, thank you so much for joining us today, and let's dive right into your story. Tell us, how did you come into our wonderful industry?
Well, for most people who don't know, I'm sure many people have heard my story, but so I got into the business by accident, like most people do, which is kind of dovetails into why I'm part of the ambassador program. So my background is accounting and HR. And so back in 2007, I got a job at a mortgage company in Colorado doing their books, doing their accounting, doing their human resources, handling their payroll. And then after a few months, I started getting interested into what the business was about, like what's paying our paychecks, what's paying the bills. And so I started getting into the mortgage side of operations, and the rest, as they say, is history. For several years, I worked at that company, still doing their accounting, still doing their HR, but also running their closing department, post-closing, and everything on the back end fulfillment part of the mortgage process. And from that point on, I've just been evolving and growing with the business, working in different business channels, which I think has been very awesome. So I worked at a big bank, I've worked at a little bank, I've worked at a credit union, I've worked at a QSO, I've worked at one of the largest IMBs in the country. And now I get to be on the wholesale side, which is the last thing that I hadn't done yet. Hadn't worked on the broker side of the house. So I'm really excited to help our broker partners grow and do the best that they can for their borrowers. So it's an exciting time. Believe it or not, in 2020, I'm actually having some fun here. So it's good.
You know, they say that once you come into our industry and that little mortgage bug bites you, there's no turning back. And that pretty much leads us into the NAMMBA Visionary Program. So you are one of our ambassadors, and we're so thrilled to have you on the team. Tell us, why was it important to be part of this mission?
So I've been in roles where I've had to hire people, and I have found it to be incredibly difficult to find new talent, to find talent that is actually interested about being in the mortgage business. And especially right now, there's such a bidding war going on right now for good talent. And I'm like, what can we do to solve for this? What can we do to not only help the next generation of mortgage professionals, but also help these companies who need to get more people in seats to help our borrowers? And not only that, but I see a lot of people coming out of college, they're riddled with debt. They went for a degree that may or may not equate to a meaningful, not meaningful job, but a job that pays the bills. And so I'm like, what can we do to solve for this and bridge that gap and help people as they get out of college, get into this business bright and early? I could only imagine what I could have accomplished had I gotten into this business when I got out of high school and not when I was 28. So I think it would be awesome if we could get just a bunch of new people in here who have that experience being in college and just get them right into the mortgage business and see what we could accomplish in 5 or 10 years. And not only that, I could envision expanding this program to not only include college people just recently graduating, but also maybe service members who are just getting back into the civilian world, or just people in general who are having a hard time finding a career, people who need to work remote, just a lot of different options that can stem from this initial program. So I'm just so excited to be involved and see what we can do to spread the word about what NAMMBA's doing.
Awesome. Well, totally agree with you. I mean, it is one of those best kept secrets, the mortgage industry, and there's so many different components. You even mentioned it. You've worked for big banks and smaller banks and credit unions and wholesale and retail, and that's exactly it. When you come into our industry, it could be in the accounting area, it could be on the IT side, it could be in operations, it can be as a loan originator. There's so many wide arrays within our industry. And that's why the NAMMBA Visionary Program is such a phenomenal mission to be able to expand and bring in that new talent, because regardless of where your strength lies, there is a place for you within our industry. Absolutely. Well, Leora, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for being part of the Visionary Ambassador Program, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.